The National Teachers Bill 2024 is in the offing. The Ministry of Education and Sport is pushing for Parliament to quickly pass this law. Once passed, if you are a teacher and you are teaching in any school, you must have a practicing license. And for you to acquire that practicing license, you must have attained a degree in education. What does that mean for our education sector? Plus, artificial intelligence is slowly but surely getting established in our education system. Shall we be laggards or shall we actually pick it up? Welcome to the Hard Questions Show. I'm Solomon Serwanja, and on this episode, I host celebrated educationist. He's also the Vice Chancellor of Victoria University, Dr. Lawrence Muganga. Dr. Lawrence Muganga, welcome to the show.
Solomon, thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. I've been following. How are you holding up at Victoria University?
It is always a tough nut to crack, but only tough ones keep going.
Okay.
So you don't give up along the way. But overall, we are doing great at Victoria University. We thank God. Everything is moving according to the strategies that we have in place. So along the way, you meet challenges. But challenges, of course, are met by people who are working and trying to achieve something, creating new things. And that's what we are trying to do.
Sounds good.
Yes.
But on your shoulder comes so many years of experience in the education sector, having worked in the global community and eventually saying, let me go back home. I wanted to, first of all, engage you on the National Teachers Bill 2024. It's interesting because the bill is calling for all teachers to be registered. It's also calling for the establishment of the National Council, National Teachers Council. And also that every teacher must have a bachelor's degree for the bare minimum. That license is supposed to be for 4 years and it must be renewed after 4 years by the council. What do you make of this bill?
Let's begin as we people, human beings, before we even talk about the bill. I am a parent, and I'm sure some of your viewers are parents. And others who are not parents, at some point they're going to be parents. By being a parent, you have children. And these children, you wish them the best. You want them to go to the best school, to be taught by the best teacher, a disciplined teacher, a role model to them. And when you can't find such a school, then some default to international schools because that's where they find that quality. The teachers. So, and the teachers there in international schools, what do they have? The discipline, the qualification, because they know they are teaching young people that are going to fit in the world. They don't discriminate where they will be in future. So that is what we want as parents.
The best education for our children. The best
education for our children. And we also know that we have destinations that have better education, that we fancy to send our children to because you want them to have a fighting chance in the world that is so unpredictable and we don't even know how tomorrow looks like. So you don't have to confine them to this country of ours alone. In which the world is a global village. This child must fit anywhere in the world. So that requires a teacher who is very well qualified, a teacher who is disciplined, a teacher who is learning every day, continuous professional development, a teacher who has hands-on experience, a teacher who takes the duty of care as their responsibility. So now we understand the scope that should engulf the teacher. Now let's come back to this National Teachers Bill. What is it asking for? It is asking to professionalize, to regulate the teaching profession, and ensuring that this teacher is subjected in a good way to continuous professional development. Again, things that mirror quality education. And then it is also saying that in the process of regulating this profession, we have to look at the ethical consideration, the discipline of this very teacher. But when you finish school, for you to qualify to be a teacher, you must have a minimum qualification, which is a bachelor's degree in education. And the bill says that is not enough. You must also be subjected to 12 months intensive internship for you to have the hands-on experience.
From a government accredited institution.
Exactly. So a government accredited institution can be a public institution, can be a private school. But what matters is the mentorship you're going to receive, the teaching you're going to receive, the guidance you're going to receive, the counseling you're going to receive, the hands-on experience you're going to receive, the practical experience you're going to receive. Then you are a complete package. Then you present those things. And something else that this bill is presenting is the creation of the National Teachers Council, which is now given the responsibility to look at all these requirements that I've alluded to earlier, and then can register this teacher, can license this teacher, and it will continue making sure that after a period of that license that you carry, you have gone through continuous professional development. You are keeping yourself up to date. You are a disciplined teacher, and then they can renew it. Then you are a professional in the teaching profession. That is the quality of a teacher we are looking for. Okay? Now, having said that, there is a catch-22. All those things are nice.
And that's what I was going, because these apply for pre-primary, primary,
secondary.
Does it also cover tertiary?
Not yet.
Okay,
not
up
yet.
to the secondary level.
Yeah, but if we can deal with those segments, there is a catch-22. And it is emerging from this angle that if you have not fulfilled those things, if you're misbehaving, if for some reason continuous professional development is lacking, then you're going to be deregistered. Your license is going to be cancelled until you fulfill those things and come back to the profession. But every time you're demanding accountability, you're demanding great performance, you must also have a great reward system. You must also put in that very bill great welfare to entice, to act as something that boosts the morale of this teacher.
Correct.
To aspire for those greater things. So, better salaries for these teachers. Better other welfare requirements. So that's when you're going to have a teaching profession very well regulated, very well licensed, and very well rewarded, and a good quality education system with the parents. I started with us, that we admire, that we want to live with, where we want to send our children, the teacher we trust. So the bill is great, but it has a missing link. The welfare of the teachers is not articulated in the bill. The reward system in the bill is not very well articulated. We also know another bigger problem, that teachers want to concentrate themselves in urban centers.
Correct.
They don't want to go in remote areas. How does the bill still address that critical question? Do you use a better welfare system, an enhancement in terms of salary, such that those who go far away from the city, those who go to the remotest areas that we know in this country, are rewarded better? such that there is a pull factor for them to go there with a reward that follows them wherever they have gone. That's how you balance the best teachers to distribute themselves in this country. That's how you help every child situated wherever they are situated to receive greater teachers, quality education. So if this bill, and if they are watching the people bringing it forward, if it can address those few aspects, we aspire for greater things. This is a good step in the right direction, where we need to be to bring our education system to a global standard. That's what the world standard looks like. Teachers are regulated everywhere. Teachers are registered everywhere. Teachers are licensed everywhere in sane education systems. Teachers are subjected to strong disciplinary requirements because you are dealing with infants, you're dealing with people's children, you are the role models in society. In Uganda, I consider them the top 3, to be part of the top 3 essential workers. But we have to treat them like that. We have to reward them. The welfare should be better. So if we have to demand that they have a minimum qualification to be a degree in education, if we want them to go through 12 months of internship, intensive, if we want them to really exhibit the best discipline there is in this world, we need to dangle something that excites them as well, to aspire to be exactly that. And that bill is short of that aspect. We should fix it.
You don't know how many teachers have gone through, education. They've done their bachelor's, but they have gone to different career paths.
Yes.
Largely because of the remuneration.
Correct.
In the teaching profession. So now you are making it very strict. In fact, now, so many people are going to lose their jobs because there are so many teachers out there who are in both private and public schools, who maybe have diplomas, or some of them actually, like those that teach in preschool, they've learned on the job and, A, B, C, D, F, G. All those people are going to be gotten out of the system and there will be requirements because the law is saying if they catch you teaching and you do not have a practicing license, you'll be sent to prison for 4 years. They will take you to court, prosecute you, and if you're found guilty, 4 years. How is that going to... Do you think that this bill is going to affect the education sector in any way?
Solomon...
Or should we also plan for the transition?
That's where I was coming. So, Solomon, the worst mistake we would ever do is to implement this law without considering that there are people currently who hold a grade 3 certificate, and they're teachers.
Yeah.
Number 2, there are people who hold a grade 5 or diploma certificate, and they have been teaching. So yes, they are teaching, and going by the education system we have, they are sufficient. But is it a good system? No. So are they sufficient in a bad system? Yes. Okay, but we need better. But the onus is on government to create a pathway for them to come to this qualification that is needed by this law. It may take 5 years. It may take them 10 years. But we need to handhold them to come, to bring them to where we want. And this is why I advocated for better remuneration of these teachers, better welfare, a better reward system to be embedded in the law itself, such that the National Teachers Council has a responsibility to regularly revisit the remuneration of these teachers, the benefits of these teachers, other rewards of these teachers, as they also revisit other things that affect teachers. This is when, once they have something more in their pocket, that is when they are going to pursue further education. Right now, they are the least paid employees you can ever think of in this country. You cannot put any demand to them to go back to school. They don't have the money. We have to come up with something, a scheme. It can be remuneration. That must actually happen if we need a quality teaching profession.
Yeah.
Okay? Then number two, beyond increasing their salaries or other benefits or creating a very decent welfare system for them, we can also come up with different scholarship schemes, bursary schemes. We have different government institutions that have education programs. Government can become intentional and create space for these teachers to come and upgrade.
Correct.
Give them a time frame.
Correct.
To have upgraded such that they don't have an excuse. Better pay, avenues to upgrade, and if space in the public institution or institutions and is not sufficient or enough, go to private universities that really are nurturing teachers. Yeah. We are willing to help because we are dealing with the most important human resource in this country, the teacher.
Do you know, Dr. Muganga, teachers out there are worried that once this law takes effect,
and they should be right.
They are going to be gotten off the payroll. Many of them will have to reapply for their job because they have to apply for a practicing certificate.
Right.
But the whole transition of, I have been a diploma teacher, a diploma holder, teaching in a BIM district. How do I actually advance to go and do my degree? You know, and I think that government should have the responsibility to help teachers transition.
That's very true.
Those that have been, at a lower grade, how can they be infused or supported to upgrade while at work? Because you see, the challenge is once this law is passed.
Now that's important.
Yeah. Once it's passed, it takes action. It becomes active, right? So that means that all teachers are going to be required to submit their paperwork before the council, the teachers' council. And that has to be reviewed, and all teachers will have to get a permit. That means without that permit, no school is going to employ you.
That's very true. So Solomon and the viewers and government, we have to be intentional. Government must be intentional. You cannot start caressing a stone with hope that you're going to get milk out of it. It's not possible. We have to intentionally invest in the education system heavily. That's when you're going to get a human capital that is productive, that the country needs to even talk about widening our tax base. People must be very productive, very well educated. And the education system should have as much resources as possible. So a teacher, we would be causing a disastrous situation if we demanded for this qualification without coming up with a transition phase for this teacher and a facilitated transition phase. Like I said, better salaries and a path that is facilitated by government through public and private institutions to allow them upgrade to come to this level. But what you talked of that is very, very important. Even if facilitating them, you give them the money, you even give them the bursaries and scholarships, and you tell them, now, you are extracted from where you're deployed. Go to these institutions and start studying. That is disaster itself, because we don't have those teachers that are going to replace them. So now we have to go back and remember that the education system, where we demand that people leave their work environment, leave their vicinities, to search for that education somewhere in an ivory tower or hill or whatever you want to call it, it is finished, dead, outdated. Education should find people where they are. Technology is available.
And we'll come there.
And we must be intentional to invest in those facilities that carry the learning to this learner, wherever they are situated, anytime, sometimes on their own pace, such that they are able to carry on with the teaching that they do passionately. Okay. Rewarded, facilitated, but also learning has come to them. Trust me, a teacher, I am one. We always want to learn. We always want to better ourselves. There is no teacher out there who is actually worried about learning. No, they are not worried about learning. They are worried about the learning you're talking about is where am I getting the money to fund myself into this learning? The learning you're talking about, am I facilitated enough to undertake this learning? Will I leave my job that I am using, depending on to feed my children and the entire family I have, and then go to school like my children are going to school? Correct. That is not like of this time. That is of the traditional times we are coming from. Bring education to them, and that is possible. So the bill is great. The missing links, we have known them, we have clearly articulated them. Government can bridge that, but very, very important. We need to be intentional in terms of resources. The only thing that can make or break a country is education. If you don't invest in it sufficiently, don't expect a productive population.
And that means you have to deliberately invest in teachers. I agree with you. So let's see how the bill is now up for second reading. Let's see how the debate goes. But the Minister of Education is calling on Parliament to fast track the process. Yes. So that the bill is passed and the council is established with a tenure of 4 years, and you get a practicing license for 4 years. After it expires, you have to go back and renew it. Mm-hmm. It's interesting how it will play out. But
very important.
Yeah, like you have articulated that it's important to professionalize the teaching profession. Yeah. And you know, when you're speaking about that, I remember I have made similar arguments for my colleagues in the media sector. It is now with teachers. It is coming for the media. And I keep telling them, as day follows night, it is coming that I know that we have pushed back against it in journalism, that people should not have practicing licenses.
But you need it now.
I'm telling you.
You need it now.
It's coming.
Look at what is on social media.
It is coming, and a law will come. We may challenge it. We challenged it before, but we can only push so much. But a law is going to come that anyone who is practicing journalism must have a degree. It is coming, like it has come for teachers. We never at any one moment thought that teachers would need a practicing license, but it's here.
But Solomon, if physicians, lawyers, engineers have needed this, have lived with it for decades, for as long as I can remember, because they are dealing with the people's lives, why not teachers? Why not journalists? Sanity is needed. Look at what is happening. Like, someone calls themselves a journalist and they abuse other people left, right, center. You can even add south and north. And this person is, where is the morality? So that is in teachers, it is in the medical world, it is. So regulation is very important.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes we always push back on it, but it's important. Let me shift gears, Dr. Muganga, and we talk about artificial intelligence. For many of us in the journalism industry, we're getting worried that AI is now writing scripts. AI will very soon anchor news. Artificial intelligence will very soon edit stories. There are robotics that are now managing studio cameras. Technology is here. Some people have argued that it's a big threat, and others have argued it's a big opportunity. I was in class recently, and one of the lecturers stood up and said, he gave us a course assignment. I said, I don't want to see any AI in your work. No AI, And these professors, graduated years back and they've been teaching, said, no AI. Artificial intelligence is here. Is it a threat or an opportunity for our education sector?
Solomon and our viewers, yesterday I was in a a retreat. And a gentleman shared something very quickly. He said that AI is knocking on our doors, so we should open. And that was okay for him to say that. But when I got a chance, I said, actually, no, AI knocked, we didn't open, it forced itself in our living rooms. We should now find a way of adopting and adapting, because it is within us now. You understand? And I want to tell ourselves that it is not a threat. It is an opportunity. Now, let me share something. I know as a renowned journalist, you understand a lot of economics as well. And the viewers too. Every country has a GDP as a measure of progress that we look at. And we become proud when our GDP is growing. But there is something important that feeds into that GDP. That is the equity market capitalization of every country. That's when we start seeing that the country is growing. Now, let me switch to the global equity market capitalization that we have today, that feeds into the global GDP. If you look at data of last year, 2023, we haven't gotten 2024. The global equity market capitalization was hovering around $100 trillion. $100 trillion. Now, why am I saying that? 87% was contributed by the traditional economy. Now, if we talk about the traditional economy, think about everything we do in Uganda. That is traditional economy. We're talking about oil. Oil has been here forever in other countries. Agriculture, market, manufacturing. We're talking about our treasure, coffee. We can even go to tea. Cotton is being depleted somewhere. We don't talk about the traditional economy. 87% of the global equity market capitalization. Now, the 13% was contributed by the disruptive innovation technologies economy. That's where we have AI, majorly. We have machine learning. We have blockchain technology. And we're also beginning to see quantum computing.
Yeah.
But all is powered by AI. All those things.
And robotics, actually.
Robotics. Yeah. That $13 trillion only surfaced in the last 3 years. Last 3 years. But the 87 trillion or 87% has been there for a very, very long time. Before you were born, a traditional economy was there. Before the viewers were even here on earth, we have known the traditional economy. But guess what is happening in 2030? 6 years from today. It is forecasted that the global equity market capitalization is going to be 300 trillion. 70% is going to be contributed by the disruptive innovation technologies economy. 70%, that's about 200 trillions. The 100 trillions or 30% will come from the traditional economy. Now, Uganda is investing and doing our best to fit in the traditional economy that is shrinking, that is disappearing. Now, other economies that have woken up, they have seen the opportunity of AI, that in just 6 years, it is going to create almost an economy of 200 trillions. Now, you ask yourself, if you are a government creating a budget, where do you invest your money? If you are a student going to school, where which area do you focus at?
ICT.
If you are a university, where do you invest more resources? How do you train your professors? How do you train your students? Because you want them to fit in an economy that is here now and is going to dominate the future. So AI is an opportunity and not a threat. And people, let me even say this, AI is not going to come and replace us. No. Do not put that allegation to AI. No. Do you know the person who is going to replace you? Is your colleague who took it upon themselves and embraced AI, learned all the tools there is in this world, learned how to prompt them, prompt engineering, all the skills there is, from ChatGPT, Gemini, Midjourney, you take them to Llama, you take everything. They learned how to use those things. Now, their supervisor will need a report, and they just need, I come to you, Solomon, and say, okay, what are you working on? You just give me one theme. I go to Kim, what are you working on? This. I go to another person, just 3 lines. I know how to prompt any tool that is driven by AI, and I have a report. In 3 minutes, I take it to my boss. Who do you think the boss wants to work with?
You who was delivered the report.
Definitely not the other person who is going to wait for 3 weeks to work on a report. So who is going to replace you? Is it AI? No. The person who actually has competencies in AI. A person who is AI proficient, not AI. So now, the call to action for all of us is to embrace artificial intelligence, to learn something about artificial intelligence, to try to do things that are driven by artificial intelligence. AI increases innovation, creativity. You fear a tool that I'll dictate to it and I say, this economy has this product, and has this product. But people need something that is different from this. Can you, as a product creation expert, create for me a product that Ugandans will desire and will demand, and tell me where I can even source capital that is going to fund the development of this idea? And it is going to give me a great idea. Traditionally, I would have needed a consultant who is going to ask me thousands and tens of thousands of US dollars, and they will ask me for a month or 2, and they are very proud. They come in suits and everything. They are demanding ABCD. Now I have a resource that is working as my agent, to an advisor, actually.
And there is the problem, because that person would have lost a job. You have given it to a machine.
Because this person did not employ what? Did not embrace AI. Now, if I was this person as a consultant, I would simply now be the best at prompting AI. Then I come to you, Solomon, and every person who cares to become very creative and innovative. And I tell you, look, I have 100 ideas that will make you rich in the next 3 months. Do you want to hear from me? Yes. A, B, C, D. Do you want to buy them? Yes. Which one are you interested in? This. Pay 10,000. I give it to you. AI did that for me. You understand? That is AI for us. It is going to revolutionize this economy, making us more productive, more aspirational, more creators, better startups. Because right now, think about education. Now you are giving a child, as long as they have internet and there are avenues to deliver internet now to every remote area in this country, if we become intentional. Now, if there is internet, every child has a chance to study relevant information, like a child seated in New York. A child in Kaberamaido can study the same information. This child, given a gadget in their pockets, they can move around with a tutor. So Traditionally, they would have waited for the teacher in the classroom, who sometimes has been stressed by their own family problems, and they don't want to talk to my child. Now, my child can ask their tutor on their gadget, and they get the most latest information. Schools don't have to struggle with physical libraries that have books that are as old as 10 years, 20 years. You have a machine there that can give you the most latest book.
Actually, one of the universities, and we were arguing at the university where I'm studying, that instead of pushing back against artificial intelligence, even in academia, even in research, there are universities that have now designed an AI tool that can help with the library. They get you the literature review, you get it, and they get you the papers. You can go back and, it will take you time for you to go and look through all these papers. But they have designed tools that are helping PhD students in their research in terms of, getting papers, and getting all that, and then they can inform them better. Something that would have taken a lot of time. But the universities and generally people think that with artificial intelligence it will weaken human intelligence, and that will be maybe more lazy and
Okay, let's.
That's why I really
I agree.
Talk about this.
I agree. Listen, every change that is transformative, it will have, of course, to discomfort some people. It will have some people who are for it and others not for it. Why? Because they are uncomfortable. Remember in the 1900s, we didn't have cars. The richest people had horses pulling their carts, right? And they could flood. If you look at these images in Washington, New York, and London, they were dominated by carts and horses, okay? Now, when someone came up with the automotive industry, they started saying, we are finished. This cannot replace our horses. Now, look at where we are right now. Can you really sit on a cart and a horse when you're going to Arua? Would you even want to be part of that? Because you have a deal to crack in Arua. You right now even need a helicopter. A car is not good enough, right? So look at the time of when we didn't have phones. My father, when he lost someone, he had to first travel for 3 days from wherever he used to be, from Masaka almost, because he has to sleep in shifts in different places, to come and tell his other brother in Kampala that we lost someone, right? Now, tell me if there is anyone with the emergence of a phone who wants to do that again.
And similarly, the people who used to do PhDs in the past, it's too much that you had to go through. But with these tools, perhaps it's helpful.
I have my university where I come from before I came back to Uganda, the University of Alberta. It has now made it compulsory for every professor. Every assessment you're going to do, evaluation you're going to do of any student, 27%, I think thereabout, must be driven by AI. If you don't do that, you have not lived up to your expectations as a teacher.
Wow.
At Victoria University, we have made AI compulsory for every student to pursue 5 certifications before you exit our system. That was effective October this year. And we are funding it for free for students. You understand?
It's interesting.
Yeah, because we need them to be AI proficient. So it is no longer...
That's where the market is going.
That is where I told you about the biggest economy of $200 trillion. So do you want to belong in an economy that is disappearing? Are you training your child to belong to a traditional economy that is shrinking? And then you complain that their government is not creating jobs, or there are no jobs, or you train for an economy that is growing every day on a supersonic speed, and you don't have to work here in Uganda. You can work anywhere, in Tokyo, in Beijing, in Singapore, but you are seated in Uganda because of your digital mastery.
All right.
Or your AI proficiency.
Yeah.
Those skills.
Yeah.
So that's where we must be.
And we have to be deliberate about that, because we have to deconstruct the mindset of the people who are teaching.
Correct.
The professors. Because they never were taught about AI. I mean, they're learning on job. Some of them even technology has been disturbing them. And so reorienting them, even the professors in different universities, is equally important.
I couldn't agree more. If you have a professor today who is teaching international finance, and they are there, you look around in every university, but this person doesn't even know where a Forex bureau is. They have never even exchanged $100. But they're teaching your child international what? Finance. And now tell them to use AI. Of course you're going to meet resistance. But the hope is just embedded in one thing: retraining them, retooling them, walking with them this journey of transformation from the old way of thinking to the new way of thinking. It's not going to be very easy. Right now I see our president, His Excellency the President, sometimes struggling with his advisors, or sometimes he doesn't even have the best advisors. Do you know the advisors I would go for? I would go for AI advisors. They give you the most latest information, the most honest views. They are not going to ask for money. If they are women, they are not going even to ask for maternity leave. They are not going to ask for lunch, for fuel, for a very good car. But you have them in your great office. You call on one wherever you want. You can even move with one in your car, giving you the latest information from around the world whenever you need it. That's the best advisor. That's the productivity we are talking about. But again, universities, we have a role to play. Yeah. We have to embrace this fully. And we have to be the ambassadors of such technologies, that innovation. We have to steer the process. And then we have to move with the population. We have to show them that this is not a threat.
Correct.
Look at it the way you looked at a phone when it was coming. The robots are coming, humanoids are coming, robots.
I mean, I saw Elon Musk.
Yes.
Elon Musk
launching Optimus. Okay? Now, those ones are going to become commonplace everywhere. Why? It is now estimated to cost $30,000. Okay? But as massification in terms of production becomes really evident, we have Tesla, we have NVIDIA, we have Google, we have Microsoft, we have Chinese that are coming. They are producing, they are going to produce massively. Now, think about this. What do you think business people, businessmen and women are going to do? A business is about one thing. Make no mistake, profit. Okay? Sometimes they confuse us with something called CSR. To make you forget that they are making what? Money. But even the CSR they got, it comes from what?
The profits.
Profits. But for you to make profit, what do you need to take into consideration? Cutting costs. Now, if there is a humanoid robot that can do the job you were supposed to do, because you slept on the job, you refuse to upgrade yourself, you refuse to learn AI, you refuse to become proficient, you refuse to become digitally competent, but for the job you do takes you 3, 4, 5 days. Now, me, I want to cut costs. I've been paying you a salary. Sometimes you waste the entire day on TikTok and all other social media kind of apps. Sometimes you even put your jacket on the chair and move away and say you have gone for lunch. All those things, I can cancel them in a second. Buy one humanoid robot, which will have reduced the price to $8,000. This person will not ask for lunch, will not ask for a salary, will not ask for leave, will not tell you that I'm tired, and will not do work politics, will not be rude at me, and I'll cut costs, I'll make profit, I'll have too much CSR to give. That is the business community. That's where we are going. So if that doesn't scare you to start thinking about AI and how you make use of it, then I don't know how better to tell it.
And that's even a bigger threat because people would have lost their jobs.
Yes.
But anyway, does our curriculum look at that?
And that's where I said it's a huge challenge. But
or do we need to review our curriculum? Because look, most of the curriculums that we are now teaching in schools are those that were approved by the National Council for Higher Education, perhaps years ago. Are we having a renewal in our curriculums that we teach at university to see and forecast into what the future looks like? Or are we still studying Canadian prairies?
Let me tell you, you ask a very, very good question, very valid. We need to revamp our curricula. And the regulators that we have, National Council for Higher Education, needs to also evolve, because the university can revamp the curricula or the curriculum, but National Council can also reject it. Why? Because they are following the old, the traditional processes and requirements. The University and Other Tertiary Institutions Act 2001 also needs to evolve, because now that determines what kind of higher education this country must receive. So all those things, there are so many pieces that need to be tossed out and bring in new ones if we need a functional, productive higher education system. And if we don't change those things, then we are wasting our time. We are having an education system that doesn't actually serve the times we are in today. So some of us, you see us trying to really have this patching here, besides the curriculum we have, because it's not so bad to add something great to a bad curriculum. Until National Council tells me, like, you would be surprised. You would find that the regulator and other relevant professional bodies that advise the regulator, they would demand that I have a fully stocked physical library. Just think about it. And you know how books, in terms of authoring them, are changing. Editions are changing every day.
You can have a big digital library.
Yet we have digital versions that you can get even a book published yesterday at a meager cost. But someone, a group of people, in form of a professional body, in form of a regulator, is asking you to have a physical library that is going to cost you billions of Ugandan shillings. And if you don't have them, your curriculum will not be accredited.
And yet you can have a big online library where people can just get in there, get whatever they want.
Listen, where every student can have the entire library in their pocket, and they can look for every content they need in real time, wherever they are situated. But you want them to travel all the way from Ajuman to come to a physical library at Victoria University. That is not supporting this country to develop. We need to change that. So it starts there. So for us, we implement what the regulator is asking us to do. What the professional bodies are that are advising the regulator, whatever they are asking for, we implement that. We try to negotiate with them. We tell them, great people, you are so behind. Wake up, you are actually choking this economy by these old and tired regulations and policies. Can you look in a better direction? Then they can comfortably and with confidence tell you, Dr. Muganga, that time has not yet come. But the world is not waiting for us. Do you know what that means? It means we are going to remain beggars. The countries we expect aid from, we expect loans from, we expect support from, where we take our students, those who have the money to support their students to study in those economies, have already moved on, are doing the things we are advocating for right now. And for us, we are waiting to lag behind and always carry this tag, a third world country. Yet, we had the opportunity to save ourselves from that tagline of being a third world country, to save ourselves from depending on their aid, from depending on their support, from begging them, and we become independent. Everyone is struggling with this AI. No one has figured out everything. So we can join the rest.
And people are continuing to advance. And
yes.
My last question, Dr. Muganga, as time is fast spent. you've clearly told us that the future is in tech. And countries that have understood that have now started investing heavily in the technology sector, from university to tertiary institutions, technical institutions are into tech to address the future need. Just like here, when we discovered oil, we saw so many people start oil engineering, oil this, exploration, welding, 3D welding and certification. And, at least I saw somehow how we aligned to the whole discovery of oil and exploration of oil. We saw it. The president says it's going to shift us from, where we are to a middle income state. And the country started to aligning. How important is it for us to start aligning to the future, which is technology? Because it is coming, and that means you as an institution and university, you have to get people who have the knowledge and experience to feed the market. The industry will develop. But if you don't have product, like you don't have people who are going to work into the industry, then we will lag behind. And we'll fly in people from the US, from Canada, from China to come and operate that technology sector that you're saying is estimated to go to about $2 billion.
It is, I couldn't even put it more better than you have put it. The key here is alignment. And because the plane has already taken off, much as we say the future is tech, no, the today is tech already in other countries. You have countries like Saudi Arabia that are rich in oil. Leave alone us who have just discovered something, wherever we discovered. But for them, they are rich in oil. But they also know that the future and the need to green the world, cutting carbon emissions and everything, that maybe oil will not be the thing in the future. And they have now created a ministry of artificial intelligence.
You're kidding.
And a minister of artificial intelligence. Because they know the struggle for supremacy in this new era of technology is with what? AI. Previously, we used to have the arms race. We studied that in history. Now we have the AI what? Race. And everyone is scrambling to cut off their pie, their pie. Eat that one. And for us, we are saying, let's see. Coffee is great. Beef is great. Milk production is amazing. Those things are great. We need them to feed ourselves. But you also remind yourself that what is the market cap of coffee in the world? It is not more than 500 billions. 500 what? Billions. The market cap of the digital economy, 17 trillions. So where do you want to invest your money? So intentionality here is needed. And if we don't become intentional to wish ourselves great, to aspire to become that independent, we also join the AI supremacy race, then we are condemning ourselves. And we don't have to do that. We have the opportunity. We have to really think, while we are creating our budgets, where do we invest resources that are going to make us bigger as an economy? Because it is projected and forecasted that in the next 7 to 15 years, GDPs inspired by AI and other emerging technologies, they are going to start growing at a rate of 7 to 12%, thereabout. Now the question is, on average, the question is, will our economy be experiencing a GDP growth rate of 7%, 10%. Do you know what it means if we experienced a GDP growth of 10%? Everyone would be having a job. The trillions of Ugandan shillings we would collect in taxes, my friend, we would be an economy that is not supported by any country anywhere. We would support ourselves. Our president would move with power, you know?
Okay.
So that supremacy is there, and they are fighting it. And we have given them a chance. In Africa, for us, we are saying, okay, let's even, coffee, cotton, beef, tea, oil. Great, they are great. But investing in latest technology, emerging technologies, will not take away those things. Okay. We can still develop those two economies together, but we just have to have the will. We open our eyes and see the future and bring it to the now and plan for it, invest in it. Then our children and the children of our children and those generations will not condemn us.
But do we have that political will?
I still believe in a revolutionary, in a president who chose to sacrifice his life, and he went to the bush. He didn't know if he would even come back, but he came back alive. If you took a risk of where you could risk a bullet in your head, okay? And you fought the war, you captured power, you are president of this country, that means you wish this country great. So therefore, this is very easy. Determining that Uganda must be better than any country in Africa.
Okay.
I have to step into the AI river as the #1 country. I want to be the best in this continent and make us great. He can do that. That is another revolutionary act, and we can count on him.
Dr. Muganga, thank you so much for speaking to us.
It's a pleasure.
Wow. What a discussion, what a show. I hope you've learned something. AI is here, tech is here, we can no longer do things the old way. The future is here. And is our government looking there? Well, according to Dr. Muganga, it will be an act of a revolution. I'm Solomon Seranya, and I've been speaking to Dr. Lawrence Muganga, who is a celebrated educationist, but also the Vice Chancellor of Victoria University. Thanks for watching. This is The Hard Questions.